stream. You're watching this on YouTube if you're watching this. And we're here with Darin. You know what? I want to make sure I get your last name. Is it Lueken?
Lueken.
Lueken, I got it right.
Yeah.
And we are here with Darin Lueken. He is Director of Development for Trivantis, meaning Lectora and the other products. Are you involved with CourseMill too?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I do the desktop Lectora.
Okay, got it. Oh, is there somebody else doing the online?
Yeah, Joe Wheelock.
Ah, okay. I wasn't sure if that was all under one of you, because they're pretty similar, sort of.
Yeah.
It's pretty close. It looks pretty close to alike. Anyway, all right. So I think we've got all of the shots working. Let me just check again. Yep, I think we are good. Yeah, your lighting's good.
Okay.
That looks good. Okay. And just so you can see what we're doing here, this is our vMix software. That's what we use to run the show. So you're seeing on the left side, that's the actual output window, what you're seeing. And you notice you're just seeing us over and over and over again. And then you have on the left the preview window. So if I switch, we come out of that shot, and we're back here. If I switch back, we're now in the preview window on the left. And then underneath, we have a ton of different shots. And so you can see our mixer. So that's our audio mixer that's in there. So that's how we do the show switching. I figured you're a techie. You probably enjoy this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like all the geek stuff.
It's fun. It's fun. And then here's what our studio looks like.
Hello.
So we've got one TV over there, which you're looking at via the webcam. That's going to change soon, but we couldn't get it to work yet because we're on Mac Minis. So we're going to be switching all the Mac Minis out for little ITX machines, and then they're in here. If you can see this console, this is all the audio stuff. So all of the audio, and on top are 3 Mac Minis, and we have one ITX machine. Those are the small little boards. And we're going to build 3 more of those, and then we'll switch over to Win 10. And then we can use what's called NDI. It's a brand new thing, which allows us to do, it's called Network Device Interface. It's free, and you can stream via the internet from one machine to another with great compression and super speed, which is nice. It's something fairly brand new, pretty much just came out. And we'll be using that to transfer, so you won't have to look at a TV screen from a webcam. You'll be able to just immediately from Skype or whatever, we can transmit our outgoing signal here right into Skype, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Gets rid of some hardware, but we might leave the TV on just for the heck of it. It looks nice, but other than that, we won't need it. Okay, so let me get the show queued. So I'm going to start on this shot right here, and then I'm going to cue our intro. And we're queued? Yep. Okay. And we are going to start the show recording in, so this is what's going to be actually on Vimeo. So in 3, 2, and 1. Hi everyone, welcome to LectoraLive, your inside track into Lectora. And we are back. Today we are joined by Darin Lueken. He is the Director of Development for desktop products like Lectora at Trivantis. And Darin, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Hey, Rick.
It's good to, I know we've met on the phone before, but we've never met actually in person. At least I don't think we have. But it's good
Sure.
to meet you. And we were talking a little bit pre-show that Darin has a very similar background to what John Blackman, who's CTO of Trivantis, has. You worked at GM from through EDS, Electronic Data Systems, and then you went to IBM. Did you work on the OS2 team with John?
Yeah, I started off there in testing, and I met John one day when I walked into where he was working, and I had to test something that they were working on, and he found out where I was from. I'm from South Dakota, and he got on a call with somebody I didn't even know and said, "Hey, there's another one of them here."
That only left like 5 back home, right?
So, and that was about 92 or so, 93.
That's pretty cool. You know, it is a small world in many ways. But and then you guys went off, and you've been with Lectora now 12 years, or Trivantis 12 years.
Yep.
That's really cool. So you're the guy we have to thank for a lot of the cool stuff that's in Lectora, the desktop version.
Yeah, well, I like to take credit, but yeah, me and a lot of guys here.
Yeah, but you guys do good work. It's a good product. And I didn't realize that you had split out the development side between the online Lectora and the desktop. They are looking so close. I mean, you have to really look hard to find a lot of differences, and we're just not seeing a lot of them.
And that is the goal. That's the strategic goal, is to make it just seamless to use either product. You know,
Yeah, I've been playing with both. Well, I've been using both. But when I use the online, I really can't tell I'm not in the main product. Performance is fast. It's not as fast as the desktop, but I'd say it's pretty close. Considering it's online, it's pretty darn fast. And it just works really well. So you guys just came out with Lectora 16.1. That was kind of an interim release, some bug fixes and some other good things in there. Where do you see Lectora going?
Well, as you said, we came out with 16.1, so we had some great stuff in there, but it wasn't big enough to be a major release for us. But we put in the test result pages. If anybody hasn't used it, I'd give that a shot and see what you think. We also had a big change in the audio and video players to go to HTML5. We always supported HTML5, but we were Flash-based with the fallover, and we're now HTML5 as our base player.
Okay.
And that's really a lot of our strategy, because that lets us be much better on responsive and mobile devices, because that's what we wanted to look the same and look great on a tablet or a phone. So those are some things that we're looking at increasing that, like doing more with the responsive, the mobile phone, making it work better on the tablets, things like that.
You know, it's interesting. One of the things that Lectora sometimes gets dinged for is issues that aren't Lectora's fault, but they're browser issues. You know, we have 3 major browsers that people use, or maybe 4. I guess we have variations of most corporate uses Internet Explorer for some ungodly reason. We can't really figure out why. Now, the Edge browser, their new one, looks like it's kind of Google Chrome. So we're not sure if they've got it embedded or it actually is Google Chrome, because sometimes you get Google Chrome error messages when you're looking at Edge, which really makes you wonder, why are we getting Google Chrome error messages here? Just an odd kind of thing. But we haven't used it much. Firefox, Google Chrome are the 2 biggest out there other than IE. But corporate is stuck on IE. And even today, you'll still find IE6 out there. It's pathetic. But usually, I think when you go past 9, everything gets a lot more stable, right?
Yeah. And the problem that we run into is it's not just it's not the base browser that you see on the system, but IE also has the ability to go back and roll and act like IE7,
right?
IE6. And that seems to get us more than anything else, because people think we're on IE9, we're on IE10, but the way that the LMS are connecting to tells them to run compatibility mode.
Yeah.
And that's we spend probably most of our development time, most of our debugging time on our output on IE for that reason.
Oh, I believe it.
iOS is starting to do the same for us. That's a very big hit too.
Oh, iOS, really? Did you say iOS? Oh, I think he froze on us.
Well,
Oh,
we're
there you are.
finding out that it are we breaking up a little bit?
Darin, you're freezing on us a little bit. I think connection froze a bit.
Is it coming back now?
It's back now. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, iOS is becoming one of the things that we got new non-standard things that we'll see once in a while. I think because Apple, the way that they've kind of limited, we know they don't support Flash, but they've also limited a lot of the things that you can do, and so we tend to have to concentrate a lot of efforts on making it work well in iOS.
But it's funny,
Safari, basically.
And it's funny because they don't support Flash, but they do. Because every major game on iOS is done in Flash with a wrapper. So they don't support it, but in reality, a lot of Flash is on iOS devices. Angry Birds, Flash. It's a lot of these major games are all done in Flash. And it's funny that, of course, Apple will never admit it. Adobe doesn't talk about it, but that's what they're using. It's just an interesting aside. But I guess it's how you wrapper it and what they allow, and it's sort of a pain sometimes. Do you see HTML5 as fixing a lot of the HTML period issues? Does it actually change some of that?
Well, HTML5 is great. It's powerful and gives you a lot of things. The problem with it is the compatibility. We run into, it's hard to go in and use the extent of it when IE is going to go roll back and to not accept it. So it's really powerful, and the more that the browsers support it, the more we can do, and the less we need Flash. But the compatibility is the main issue. IE across the board, you just can't bank on it always supporting all the different features of HTML5.
Right. Oh, I ran into one large pharmaceutical company. We finished a pretty large course for them, and we went out to do a demo, and we're sitting there going, oh my God, what happened? Everything, we had pieces of the screen gone, things were in wrong positions, transparency where there wasn't any. We're going, what browser version are you on? 6. This is when 9 was out. And we just, usually we asked, but with them, high-tech company, brand new, they're at the leading edge, 6. Fortunately, you guys had a snippet of code which fixed it. Just a snippet. Put that in and everything worked. But it was a moment of sheer panic. It's like, oh no, we have 9 hours of training of which doesn't look very good. It's amazing. It was just, and that's browser incompatibility right at that moment where, and they had 9, like you said, they were in a compatibility mode which brought them back to 6.
Yep.
It's scary. We ran into one recently which was 9, but we were doing it in 11. They told us 11 was everything, but they had the LMS set course by course on 9, and that caused some issues. Not a lot, but some where things would move or disappear, and we went, well, that's really weird. We just tested and it worked. For us, it worked fine, but the minute it got on their servers, it didn't.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it was a quick fix. Another call to support, and we got the answer. Actually, I called John on that one directly. I go, John, this is really weird. And he goes, compatibility mode. And we tried it. It worked. It was just one of those. And again, we didn't expect that at this one. Well, they didn't even know they had it, because they have a hosted LMS, and they had no idea they were in compatibility mode. So those are little gotchas that are nothing to panic about. They're actually very easy fixes. You just either get rid of compatibility mode or turn it on, and it works either which way. But I can imagine people just really freaking out on something like that, going, "Oh my God, my course isn't working." It's just knowing the settings and knowing what each LMS does. I find the HTML model a nice one because it'll run on almost anything.
Right.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah. We find like you were talking about IE9, it's interesting because IE9 doesn't necessarily look like IE10 running as IE9 or IE11 running as IE9. So it does add a little test for us.
Interesting. Okay. that's pretty good. And really, Edge is, I guess, technically IE 12, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I think they did change their engine on it though, because it seems to be different. Like you said, it might, I don't know if it's WebKit based or what, but it's different than their old, I think is Trident or something, the different engine they used to use.
Oh, I
think
swear.
they changed engines, and I think they're trying to get away from the compatibility mode, probably.
And we have a theory that they embedded Google Chrome, that they may have just done a deal with Google, and because, like I said, we actually get Chrome error messages running certain things. Like, why are we getting a Chrome error message on Edge? So it's just a very strange thing, and it runs pretty quickly. It's a lot faster than the older browsers they had. I would say it is WebKit, and it may be Chrome.
Right.
So I don't know. We haven't dug into it, tried to reverse compile it and figure out, so what did they do here? What's Google? Look at that. It may be. Things happen in this industry.
Yeah, you never know.
Don't know. How hard a job is it for you guys to keep Lectora Online and Lectora Desktop kind of so in sync?
Well, it's a big effort that we're doing right now. We're trying to bring them closer together so that right now, Lectora Online has a big release coming up pretty soon to add in a lot of the features we put in with V12, a lot of the object features and things, because we know that that's really our key. And the long-term view, and not even necessarily that long, is to bring them together where you could work in one and bring it to the other, continue working without any kind of interruption. That it extends your desktop to anywhere, and you know that. So it takes a lot of work though for us to keep those two in sync. But we think it's a strategic advantage that our competitors don't have a desktop tool and a quality online tool.
Right. Which also gives you immediate Mac accessibility, because there's a lot of people who still run on Macs, and none of the e-learning tools, except for Captivate, which sort of runs on a Mac, run on Macs. So this gives you ability through the web to just have complete compatibility, which is really nice. I know people who are using Macs and they love that feature. So that's a big, I think, feather in the cap there. You just came out with I saw a little marketing release yesterday in the Trivantis newsletter that a whole mess of new features are coming out, new graphics and call-outs and all sorts of stuff is being put into the product. Is that imminent, or is that didn't come out yet, right? That's coming out.
I'm not sure what marketing release you saw. We put out this morning, as far as desktop, we actually put out a patch, but that's all maintenance features.
Oh, okay.
And that just came out today.
Yesterday. It was a Trivantis newsletter yesterday, and they said coming up soon, or coming in Trivantis, and it looks like some really cool features, more graphical features, more additions to the product. I was going, that's kind of neat. I guess that's going to be probably a 16 point something or other.
Desktop, we're working our next major sets of features. We're addressing much improvements to PowerPoint importing, because we have a lot of customers who are looking for that.
Right.
So we're putting in features for that. We're improving trying to think what off the top of my head, but we're just not used to doing this here. But we've got fixes to improve our preview modes and things like that. So, because we're running right now natively on a desktop, and there's a lot of things the browsers can't allow you to do. And we'll be fixing that so that they'll run with look just like they're running from a server. You get the same results, the same test results, things like that.
Oh, great. That'll be cool.
Yeah, so we have some good stuff on the way here shortly.
Yeah, it sounds really good. Yeah, I saw the list. I was going, that's neat. There's some really good features. And this isn't anything secret. We're not talking development. This is stuff that's out there. That's why I was asking you. That we can't ask. We're all under NDA, so we know what we can and can't ask. But on stuff like that was pretty exciting. A lot of new little features. And you guys are really accelerating the amount of new stuff that's coming out. I mean, really, if you think about it, 12 was not that long ago, a year ago. Then all of a sudden we're at 16, 16.1. There's some massive changes between those versions, right? Especially between 12 and 16. That was a huge upgrade.
Yeah, we've been trying to go to a more agile approach and getting things out quicker into the user's hands, because it really helps us to get feedback from our users. Because one of the strengths we have as developers is we have a great users group, and we hear from them a lot. And I love to get something in their hands early and let them see, and they'll tell us what they need. That's great, but this could be more.
Well, one thing I really like you guys do is the Lectora Advisory Board, which I got invited into last year and really enjoyed it. And you were in all the meetings we were in, and it's nice to see the developers and the management team of the developers in these meetings, kind of helping guide the meetings, and also listening to the feedback, because that guarantees just a better product in the long run. And
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun. It was actually I enjoyed it. It was we had quite a few meetings, but it was a blast. It was definitely fun stuff. And I come from a development background too. I used to run IT shops, so this is my second career, if you will. We got into multimedia officially in 1995. But before that, we implemented ERP systems for many years. So we were programmers, developers, business analysts, systems analysts, and it's a lot of fun. So getting into this part of it, when we get to talk to the developers, it's sort of fun. It's like, hey, we like being where you're at. That was a good place to be. So,
right.
Programmers. My wife.
We get a lot out of that feedback because you can envision how people use the product, and they're using different things. And until you sit and talk to the users, and we'll see that at the user conference in a couple of weeks, we just get great feedback because you don't quite get it until you talk to people and they say, but this or that, or this would be really great. And it's just like an aha moment.
Yeah, so, and there's also, like, my wife is taking John's course on the API and programming the API, and she's been brushing up her JavaScript skills. She's now doing her JSON, and she goes, I've got ideas. And actually, we were thinking, you could really create an app, put it onto any mobile device, whether phone or tablet, extending it right within Lectora. Now you have an app development. All you have to do is have maybe a phone gap in front of it, and now you can do whatever kind of app and wrap it around.
Oh, yeah. That's how our user conference application gets built, using Lectora.
Oh, really?
Using that with JavaScript yet? That's how it works.
I haven't played with that yet. I haven't been on the phone to look at it. Is that already out?
I believe the latest one is out. I know last year's was built that way, too.
Oh, cool. I'll go take a look at that. I'll show it to my wife, because she was her brain was worrying last night. Jason, I could do database apps. I could do this. I could do that. Cool. I can do a Vimeo app. She was having a lot of fun thinking of all the things. She's an ex-systems programmer, so she likes to get deep into the bits and bytes.
I understand.
Yeah, and we keep joking. You guys were with the OS2 group at IBM. To this day, I still think IBM had a better OS than probably even Windows 10 today. OS2 was well designed, and Windows was not. So.
But they had the market. So.
They had the market. Yeah, it's really kind of a shame. And IBM got rid of it, which actually surprised me too, because they did have a loyal following. We were one of the loyalists. I mean, we had OS2. We didn't use it everywhere because, unfortunately, not all apps ran with it, but most of them did. It was a lot of fun. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
How was development
different? OS2 in years.
I'm sorry? I
haven't used OS2 in years, so you might know
more about it. I think we haven't used it since it got killed, and it was like, darn. It was actually pretty efficient. And that's what I like, because I have a feeling you guys put a lot of the same programming practices and disciplines into building Lectora, because it's very well integrated. And a lot of people who aren't techie probably, and that's the funny thing, is you don't have to be techie to do Lectora, but from a techie perspective, I could see the architecture, the way you guys have designed it. That's one of the things I immediately fell in love with. We got into Lectora in version 6, and I'm looking at it going, oh, this is pretty cool. Look at the easy structure. Not to mention you had an API back then also that was pretty powerful. We were using your API to take our Word doc storyboards and pull out the left column where we had, not the left, the right column where we had all our captions. We would pull the text out, fill out every page with the captions in Lectora. We would pull the graphics from a link that was in the storyboard to and we could build a piece in Lectora probably in about 5 minutes. And then as far as building it. So we'd have the basics built, and then we just reorganize and position everything. It was pretty cool. And then I think part of that function went away, but I think it's coming back, if I recall correctly. But that was amazing that we could do that. It was fun.
Yeah, you know what we find with the JavaScript scripting, one of the things we find when we see a lot of people editing that, a lot of our users, we actually get a lot of interesting ideas from that because of what the creativity of that our users bring with it, to the point that you think to yourself, well, why don't we just bring that in the application? Mm-hmm. So, I think the extensions have actually been good for us too. They've allowed us to see what people can do with it by opening it up and allowing people to be creative.
Yeah, and it's amazing what you can do with it. That's why, because you're a web development tool, I've talked to some people, they've built their websites in Lectora. So that's another interesting use. If you've got a project, let's say you have an internal website you want to build for your company, you can, right with your e-learning tool. How many tools can really build a website? It's pretty cool, and it's extensible because you can do all your JavaScript calls and everything else. You can embed anything that's web-based, and that's pretty neat. I know I always keep hassling John for a page fade, and I think I finally figured out why that's a hard one. And we think it has to do with preloading an image and then fading that image that's already been preloaded. A little tricky. So we're trying to figure out. We're actually trying to figure out how to do it in JavaScript on our own. So we haven't gotten there yet. We've come close, but
let's say that we might. I can't get into too many details of where we're going in the next year, but in the next major release, we might be able to help you out with some of those things, because
cool.
We're looking at very much improving that page transition and just the overall flow. And I think you might be happy with that.
Oh, good. Well, hey, I like being happy. No, that'll be good.
Definitely on our queue. It's definitely on our queue.
It's so funny. If you look at all the things I've asked John for over the last, 5-6 years, there's two major ones: a fade and a fade. He gave us the object fades, and then I said, "Well, what about the page fades?" He goes, "You really need it?" Yeah, we really need it. All right, I'll get it. So you kind of mumbled along. Oh, fine, I'll give it to you. But that's it. Other than that, we have everything we pretty much need. I mean, there's been a couple of bugs here and there, but not many. Really kind of small ones, and I think some of those were all addressed in 16.1. So most of them were shape related, shape and text. That's been fixed, so that's good. So yeah, and I'm fussy. We complain a lot, so very few complaints. So that's actually a real good thing for us. It's a good thing. And again, the only thing we run into every so often is the incompatibility of browsers. And we've done the test with other, not tools, but other like website development tools like Muse, Adobe Muse, which is what we do our website with. And it renders differently on every browser. You catch just enough differences in the rendering that you just go, how do we all survive in this web world when everybody doesn't follow the standard? Firefox does a little bit different rendering, IE is different, and Google is different. We find actually Google the least compatible sometimes. I don't know which one you find the most compatible, but rendering is different between all the browsers.
Like I said, I think IE, because of the variations, is the one that just, so much special coding goes into handling IE. A lot of conditional logic just to handle the cases of what you have available and what you don't. But yeah, Chrome can challenge at times. Firefox seems to be pretty standard.
Yeah, I like Firefox. It's a little heavier than some, maybe not as fast, but it works.
Right.
So I have no real complaint with that one. So in your years as a programmer, what would you consider some of the most interesting and really rewarding stuff that you've done?
Wow, it's a challenging one. So you mean that even before here?
Yeah, even before here, because you've got a long background. You've been in the field 20-something years. Well, I didn't bring it up. You were actually a trained electrical engineer, correct?
Yeah, that's what my degree is in, but I can't claim to be one anymore.
But you jumped right into software, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It was early 90s, and I got into, they didn't have as strong of software programs back then, and I really enjoyed it. My senior design project was using a circuit board and C programming, and I just really kind of felt that was the direction I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And I haven't regretted it. It's been fun.
It's really funny.
When Microsoft was in its infancy.
So. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Windows was fairly new back then. It was just coming out. What did it come out? About 90... Probably about 94, maybe?
We had
95?
Windows 2 when I was in college in a shared computer room that we had, and I don't remember ever hearing anything. It wasn't until Windows 3 or 3.1 that people really started using it a lot.
That's true.
Windows Preload.
That's true. Well, that's the only one that actually worked. But
that is true. It really, you couldn't understand why not to use DOS in Windows 2 days.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, DOS, you can criticize it. It was a hell of a lot faster than Windows back then. And for data entry, it's still better than Windows. But I digress. We could write better apps in the DOS environment than we could in Windows for data entry. Partly that's a feature of a lot of the development tools back then. But DOS was okay. It just was different. Windows is much better for all the graphical interfaces and the and tools like desktop publishing and stuff. It was great for that. I still don't think data entry is as good in Windows as in a more DOS-like environment. But other powers prevail, so it is what it is.
It's all on the web now, all the data entry and things like that in the SaaS systems.
Yeah. Yeah, some of it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. So you could actually even write probably a SaaS system with Lectora. Just saying, you could.
Yeah.
Get all the back-end libraries, and you could do some good stuff. That's
right.
Pretty neat. Did you guys develop Lectora in C? C++?
It is in C++.
C++.
So, yeah, we have pieces now using all different kinds of languages. The latest component we built is using Google's Go, but we
Google's Go. Now, what's Google's Go?
It's Go is a programming language, and one of the guys that's working on our Slim server, as we call it, our ability to go off and in the future, we'll be able to let you see previews in a Slim web server, and that was actually written using Google Go. So
interesting.
Kind of just interesting. You got to keep trying a little different things.
Have you guys looked at the new NDI technology from NewTek? That's the network device interface, which if you have a media application, or if you've got a heavy, let's say, video application in e-learning, it, in essence, does ultra-fast, tight compression, network-based, IP-based, that can send to anything in your network via IP a very compressed video stream that can then be pulled up by someone else, like WebRTC. That can be using NDI and stuff like. It's pretty amazing what they're doing with that. We just got it into this video switching software, which is vMix. And so what you're doing right now, what we're seeing of you is that's going internally through NDI into our switcher, which is giving us a much faster, much less latency, almost zero latency transfer of video to us, whereas before we had a much higher lag. So it's pretty fascinating. And they're thinking this is the future of broadcasting because NDI can handle very large streams. You do need a gigabit network minimum. But, gigabit networks can handle a lot of traffic. We have an intelligent router here that can handle, I think it's 56 gigabytes a second. It's a lot of data.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I don't know much about it. I definitely have to look into that.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it until about a month ago. And then the eyes opened up when we noticed it was coming out in one product we had. And there was a lot of talk about it at NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters, as that is really the future of broadcasting. So that's might become the future of the web and the way they do compression. People like YouTube and everybody else, if they can start leveraging the NDI, and it's free, by the way. NewTek made it public domain. So anybody can use it for free and get the clients and everything else, no charge. It's very interesting. I could see that working very quickly for your online version because of what they do and how much data they transfer and all that, which, by the way, is still pretty fast. We might even speed it up some more. But that's new. That's literally only been out. I think it's been in beta for about 6 months, and now it's actually officially out. So neat little tool.
Yeah, check into it.
Yeah, it's kind of fun stuff. There's always some stuff coming. Every time I think we've reached the limit, something else comes out. It's pretty
so
mind-boggling. So that's really good. Well, I'm glad you and John have made a very good team together out there, and we've all benefited from the work that you guys have done, and you guys have a good team in general. So always appreciated. You're going to be at the Lectora User Conference?
Yep. Yeah, I'll be there. We'll have a number of the guys from both teams, from the down here, the online and the desktop teams, to be able to talk to customers, work through issues, whatever. I've been to all of them, every one of the user conferences. So.
This is my first. After 10 years of using the product, I finally go. Don't ask why. Usually it was a timing issue or anything else. This year I'm presenting and I'm also going, so we're looking forward to it. And actually, we're bringing the show on the road. We're going to have a booth right in the foyer of the lobby, I guess, and we're going to set up cameras, lights, and in those 10 square feet, we're going to have a full production broadcasting studio. So
that's going to be cool.
We're going to be doing interviewing as we go on the fly and talking to people and just taking some video throughout the show. It'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I always get so much out of it. The user conference, like I said, I've been to a lot of them, but it never fails. You come back and it's kind of like you get filled up with energy. You're like, okay, I've got ideas. I'm ready to go.
That's great. Get those creative juices going. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Are you presenting at all?
Well, only in the Ask the Expert section. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Yeah, most of us keep us in the background. No, we spend a lot of time, the development team, actually working with customers, working through issues or questions they have, how to do things. So we try to make sure we're there because we think that's a strength for what we have, is that one-on-one contact between our development and our users.
That's true. And like I said, the way you handle the Lectora Advisory Board is top-notch. That's the way they should be handled in terms of getting feedback and looking at ways to just make the product better. And that's good. You opened up the board quite a bit last year, because I know a lot of the people I talked to were new. So there was a whole mess of different blood coming into the board, which I think helps, bringing all the new, radical blood coming in. Hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do? And a lot of us use a lot of different tools. So, we all keep saying, if we could have a little bit of this and that one and that one and this one, again, it all just makes your tool better. And that's what we think. Well, Darin, I really appreciate you coming on. We look forward to seeing you next week at the Lectora User Conference. Not next week, 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks.
On the 18th, be there. It is the Lectora User Conference in Fort Lauderdale. It's not too far from your offices, right?
Nope, we're driving down. We're not.
Are you driving down? How far is it from where you are?
Yeah, it's about half hour away.
Oh, that's not bad. That could be 3 weeks in LA time, but we have way too much traffic. Of course, I think you're off the 95 too, which is about as bad as some of our LA traffic from what I heard.
Yeah, it could be rough.
It can be rough. But we're flying into Miami and then heading into Fort Lauderdale. And if we have a chance, we're going to try to do this. We're going to try to grab John, maybe if you want to join us, and go to one of the Argentine restaurants in Hollywood. There's like 20 of them. And little known fact, but I was born in Argentina, and I still love the food. And I love the food. It's good food. Very good, filling food. So anyway, but we can arrange something after the show or sometime. That would be fun.
It would be fun.
Well, anyway, if you are watching the show, please continue watching. Subscribe. Let us know what you think. Give us feedback. We will have Darin's information and website. Well, you know the website. It's trivantis.com. In the show notes, and you can meet him in person at the Lectora User Conference 2016. So don't miss out on these opportunities to talk to a very good and responsive team. Yeah, you talk about responsive learning and training. Well, I'd say you guys are a responsive team. We have a little flyer that we're going to be introducing at the show, and our little tagline is, a responsive team for a non-responsive world. Let's see how that goes. We had another one too, but we didn't know if it would go as well. It was making the invisible seen and the seen possible. That's more of a brain.
Responsible.
Yeah, the responsive one we like.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, good meeting you again. We'll see you in about a week and a half at the show, and thanks for coming on again.
Thanks for having me.
All right, have a good one, everyone. We'll see you next week on Lectora Live. Bye-bye.